Namaste, Gemini. This read is for you. Happy birthday. It is June, which is your month, your solar return. We just had a full moon in in Sagittarius, which would have revealed the need for an adventure, or it would have revealed any limitations that were in your life that are repressing adventure or repressing any expansion that you're needing to take in your life in order to progress to your destiny. It's about travel. It could have involved traveling, or it could have just been a new way of thinking, a revelation that sort of busted through any limitations that were preventing you from experiencing a more adventurous, expansive life. Might have involved planning or desiring or creating travel or new education, anything in the 9th house, which is Sagittarius. And then Gemini is all about strategic planning. It's the air energy, it's the mental energy, the mind thinking energy. So partnering that with the new revelations of a need or restrictions in the area of adventure. So you put that with the Gemini energy of planning the new adventures, I guess you could put it. All right, let's see what the cards have to say for Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Ascending, or anywhere else Gemini falls in your chart. All right. Thank you for subscribing, watching, and liking, and all of that. I'm having a lot of fun doing this channel, so I appreciate all of you who watch and comment. Makes it fun to interact with people. It's fulfilling. All right, let's have a look. Now, it looks like this read for Gemini, June 2018, it is a period of, I would say, knowledge. We've got the two. Now let's go through the cards. What have we got? We've got the Wheel of Fortune, Two of Pentacles, Ace of Swords, Queen of Swords. There's your Gemini energy. Again, there with the Page of Swords. This card is trying to come out. There's the Eight of Swords. Now we got a lot of, so now the Sun is in your first house. So what does that mean? That means there's going to be new expansive beginnings for in sort of the majority centered part of your life. Like, it's going to be the fate. It's going to be a Gemini, and Gemini is fate. And this is the Gemini figuring out the knowledge or the clarity of what to cut away and what not to have, or what to leave. So it looks to me like the Gemini are at a period in their life where they're gaining clarity to sort of leave the old and venture into a new cycle. And it is the solar return for Gemini, so that makes sense. Now, Gemini are dealing with a shifting in thinking and ending a way of thinking that turns them away from let's have a look. Okay, so what I'm getting is that, let me just double check that I have that at the bottom. Okay, so what I'm getting is that there is a restriction or something that really holds the Gemini back, and it involves a thinking or perception that is restricting for the Gemini, and that is what is becoming revealed and is going to be eliminated and changed. And it is a form of thinking or concept or thinking that troubles the Gemini, but whatever this thinking is no longer going to trouble the Gemini. And it is here, we get the adventure card, we get the Sagittarius energy coming in here of the moon, which involves adventure, and look at that, you know, the man on the horse, and he's free and he's ready, he's spontaneous, he's alive, he's excited, and you see he's on an adventure looking at either mountains or pyramids, and he's out in the world and he's free. So for Gemini, there's going to be I'm going to say a new balancing of thoughts, because this is my perception part of the read. So there's going to be a new ability to see something differently. That's going to, in other words, there's going to be a figuring out that something needs to end. To put it really straightforward, something needs to change, something needs to end. There's going to be clarity around what that is in order for a fate to proceed, in order to proceed towards their fate. And then we have, in the heart section, we have money, giving, paying. I don't want to say paying something off or paying. Basically, this is the heart section of the read, generosity. But I want to say, now, because that's under the heart, under the Wheel of Fortune, and this is the heart section, and this is the Six of Pentacles, which represents giving and receiving. It looks like the Gemini is turned away from their heart space, not giving, because they're turning away from giving. So what this says to me is that it is now in the fate of the Gemini to find peace in receiving and what it is that they want to receive, but it's also a Gemini not giving and receiving for the right reasons, out of heart based. So the Gemini are going through a process where they're realizing that to give money, and this is money, pentacles, but it can also be, it can be giving from the heart space. It can be generosity of heart. But there's a fate involved. So in other words, the Gemini have been giving in an area or in a way that is not necessarily consistent with what's true to their heart. And it could have been a financial thing, it could be money, but they're realizing they don't want to do that anymore. They don't want to. The Gemini doesn't want to give in a way that doesn't. It's almost like giving money, but it can also be giving their heart in a way that doesn't feel as though it's creating adventure in their life. And that however the Gemini have felt that they've either been giving money or giving their heart was restrictive. They were feeling there's a restriction involved in that situation, almost as though and it was for the wrong reason, and it involves communication. So I'm going to give I'm going to pull a clarifier on this here. So basically what this is saying is that there is a new perception coming in for Gemini in this solar return that is going to bring clarity on what needs to end and what giving and taking needs to shift and change, so that there is more peace in the home environment, and that there's more adventure. So and that the life of the Gemini can proceed in a less restricted way. So it almost feels like the Gemini was giving in a way that felt restrictive and was not really necessarily fulfilling in their home life and in an adventurous way, and that the motive for giving, in other words, it could easily be the motive for giving was to make more money or to be rich, is no longer the reason for wanting to give. And all it did was pull the Gemini away from their heart and not giving in an area, not giving in an area that was necessarily true to their heart, if that makes any sense. And so so in other words, the motivation to not give from the heart space is shifting to understanding that in order to create peace in the life of the Gemini, it needs to get rid of giving that doesn't somehow, or a give and take reciprocation situation that doesn't create an adventurous, peaceful living environment, and that is what the Gemini is seeking now. Adventure, there's the adventure, the harmonious home life and peace, and then giving away. So it's like the Geminis are figuring out that in order to create a more peaceful, living, adventurous, peaceful, loving, balanced, idyllic home experience that they are craving, they have to end the motivation for giving out of fear thinking, giving to relieve any kind of restricted situations. So basically the Gemini are shifting in a way, not giving in a way that ending giving in a way that isn't from the heart. I hope that makes sense. That's a challenging read. I mean, sometimes the cards speak to me in sort of upside down ways, and I have to try to kind of clarify, but really, if I was to summarize this read, it's saying that Gemini are not willing to just sort of put themselves out there in a way that isn't going to really be universally home and adventurously I want to say rewarding or supportive. In other words, the way the Gemini is going to give now is in a way that really supports. I have a feeling Gemini have an ability to sort of just, because it's air energy, they can kind of just put their energy all over the place and not necessarily centralize it. And it feels to me like the Gemini are going to centralize their focus into a more peaceful, adventurous, harmonious living experience and sort of chop away any restrictive, less valuable, and anything that isn't from the heart and home isn't really that valuable to the Gemini anymore. And that's going to be ended, and whatever motive to give from a non-heart place was out of fears relating to being restricted. If that makes sense, because there's sort of an understanding now for the Gemini to sort of put their energy in a centered area involving home and life and adventure and heart. I hope that is clear. I just try to do the best I can with these, however the cards show up, and I turn them into a story. For Gemini, they got the card Sage from the Wisdom of the Tao deck by Mai Yin Lu. And this card says, life is challenging, exciting, and rewarding journey. You are here to learn from your personal experiences and to teach and inspire others. With each step and lesson, you joyfully gain wisdom and develop skills to understand yourself and the plight of others. Enlighten others to pay it forward. So I hope this read brings you clarity and the ability to work with these energies a little bit better. And namaste, and thank you so much for watching.